Someone had tagged me in this post right here, and I'm not going to mention their name because I'm not sure if they want me to put them out there like that. But if they are watching this, shout out to you. So yesterday, well, I'm recording this on July 14th. So yesterday would be the 13th, as in the date that you see on your screen at the bottom. I conducted this poll where I said, who's doing these mass shootings in Chicago? And I said cops or the community. Now, as you can see, cops got an overwhelming 90% vote, and 10% came from the community with 384 votes. And it was 18 hours and 35 minutes left, which means it was still ongoing before it was up, because I only left it up for 24 hours. I only left it up for a day. But look at how much time went past and how many votes came in just that amount of time with that much time left. And the reason why I made that post is because there was an article that came out that day, or maybe the day before, where they were saying all these shootings happen in Chicago. And I had posted up two pictures of one of the headline and then one of something I saw in an article that is the same routine, wash, rinse, repeat, where they said they have no suspects. And then I got into a little back and forth with one or two people who are from Chicago who swear up and down that it's people in the community doing this. There's no way the cops can be doing this and everything like that. I said, what's so sad about this is, how is it that people like myself who doesn't even live in Chicago can see this for what it is? This is the same Chicago who put bait trucks in the black neighborhoods. This is the same Chicago that put bait crates with guns in them in the alleyways in black areas of Chicago. Chicago is one of the most segregated cities in America. They have cameras everywhere. How are these shootings happening and no one's being found? Now, when I've done stories in Chicago with shootings happening, maybe one or two people getting shot and they find a person, that's more believable. But when they say there's like 64 shootings and 11 deaths and all types of stuff like that, then I question it. And people get mad when you question this, when you put your thinking cap on and they swear that you're a conspiracy theorist. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. It's just common sense. And it's not my fault that I want to dig a little bit deeper, and I'm not a surface level thinker. And unfortunately, too many of our people are just that, unfortunately. But what's so sad is that it's so many people who live in that city and they want to act blind to what's really actually going on. It almost makes it sound like you're an enabler. Not saying that you are, but it is what it is. And I saw some people that are saying, well, I've lost family members to gun violence. And I said, okay, have they found the shooters in which they, the person who did it? Some will say yes, but a lot say no. And to those of you who say no, I said, I wonder why. And then they'll come back and say, well, they're hiding out in the hood. Are they hiding out in the hood, or are they hiding out in those departments? And then we saw videos where you had white people creating these black face masks that make them look like black people. Like, come on. And Chicago is one of the most corrupt police departments. Do y'all not remember what they did with the Laquan McDonald case? They killed that boy and then went into the McDonald's and made them give up the surveillance footage so they wouldn't get hit with a bunch of charges. Anyone who can do that is capable of doing anything. Which leads me into why I'm making this video right now. Because to be honest, sorry, I had to pause it right quick. But like I said, I was glad that I was tagged in this post, because the person who tagged me in this put a slideshow of images up here. And I'm going to see if I can pull them up on this screen so y'all can see what it is that I see. Look at this right here. This article right here was posted on July 5th. 2015. I can't really see the date because the little bar that I used to record is blocking it, but it was in 2015. Officials: Fox Lake cop killed himself because he feared discovery of crimes. This is out of Chicago. He killed himself because he was scared that his crimes in which he committed as a cop was going to be revealed. Let me continue. Jury finds 2 Chicago cops guilty in corruption case. And this is from October 22nd, 2019. Prosecutors said officers David Salgado and Xavier Elizondo are corrupt Chicago police officers who betrayed their badges and used their police powers to lie, cheat, and steal. And those names look familiar. I feel like I talked about this before. Let me continue. The Chicago Police Department has a history of police brutality, torture, and rape, particularly targeting the African American community in Chicago. According to a 2020, as in this year, study, torture was used against 125 black suspects, many of whom were found to be innocent, over the years of 1972 to 1991. You're talking roughly almost 20 years. Let's continue. However, some officers have been blatant about their gang links. Let me read that again. However, some officers have been blatant about their gang links in recent years. Reginald Lee, a former officer, is in prison for attempting to sell 2 pounds of cocaine to undercover detectives last year. Lee, age 34, told investigators he was a member of the Gangster Disciples, one of the area's most prominent gangs, and would always be one. Last month, Officer Sonia Irwin, age 41, resigned after being accused of taking part in the Gangster Disciples drug conspiracy. Let's continue. Corrupt Chicago's police sergeant sentenced to more than 7 years in federal prison for falsifying search warrants and stealing drugs. This article was posted on June 26, 2020. You're talking less than a month ago. And I didn't even know about that. And it's funny because they don't talk about that, but they'll mask it with all these so-called shootings that happen. That's why I say people, y'all have to dig a little bit deeper than the surface. You will be amazed at what you will find. And this also goes to those people who live in Chicago. In the last 3 years, at least 15 police officers have been charged with crimes, forced to resign, or investigated for membership in a street gang, the Chicago Sun-Times said in a Sunday's edition. 7 officers in 1 police district are under investigation for gang ties. So when people say they believe these shootings are gang related, oh, they sure are gang related, but guess what? The gang members are in the departments. You know how we said that the Klan has infiltrated police departments and courthouses and government positions and all that? You have police officers or these terrorists who are gang members of actual known gangs who carry their gangstership into those departments to carry out their gang-like ways while wearing a uniform. That's their cover. I've always said that a lot of these departments hire a bunch of gang members anyway. Why do you think I keep calling them terrorists? But nobody believes me. I'm trying to see, is there anything else? I think that was the last slide because it's not going any further. But I say all that to say this. This right here, this poll that I conducted, I think it's safe to say it pretty much validates everything I've been saying. Not that I was looking for validation to begin with, because I already knew what was up. But some people are going to look at what I just presented to them and they're still not going to believe it. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. They can believe what they want. But what they'll do is they won't talk about this. And they'll come out with more stories saying all these shootings happen and everything like that. Meanwhile, they have all these gang members in the department. That's where they are at. The gang members on the outside are not the ones doing this. I'm not saying that there aren't a mix or there aren't gang members out there who are committing these shootings, but not in the way that they claim they are. I said, who's doing these shootings? Are these phantoms? And again, is it Nightcrawler? Like, they going from one spot to the next and they got all these cameras and they claim they have no suspects. Like, come on, people. I don't know how many times I gotta regurgitate this thing to y'all. It's so blatantly obvious. At this point, you are just being willfully ignorant. And if you are a black person and you really think that it's black people actually doing most of this, then I'm a question, do you have some self-hate about you? Or have you been brainwashed by mainstream media? Because all the people that be saying stuff like this, it's something that BGS Itmore has said before in the past. And shout out to him for even saying this, because if it's one thing I don't take away from him, it will definitely be this. And I had taken quite a bit from him. He says that every black person has a little bit of a white supremacist in them. And I swear to God that every time the topic of the quote unquote black on black crime, especially with Chicago, comes up, that little inner white supremacist comes out of a lot of black people every single time, no matter how much facts are presented before them. They have clearly made up in their mind that most of their people are just some of the most worst people on earth, even more worse than some of the people that they have internalized to themselves to be. And one more thing, I strategically put up a picture of Leonardo DiCaprio with the caption, "I told you so," at the bottom of it from his movie, The Great Gatsby, for a reason. Reason being is because it seems that unfortunately when it comes to a lot of black people, not all black people, especially not the ones over here, they'll believe what I said if it came out of the mouth of someone who looked like a Leonardo DiCaprio. Basically saying it only can be believed and seen as truth or as facts if it comes out of the mouth of a palm-colored person. This is a couple days after I recorded the initial first part of this recording, but I haven't uploaded the video just yet, and I'm glad that I didn't. And shout out to my assassin for actually tagging me in this article. So this goes right along with the corruption that comes out of that Chicago Police Department and all the type of stuff that they have going on. And when I looked at their names, I said their names sound familiar, like I did a video on them back when this story first broke, which was back in October of last year. So these two guys, of course, their names is David Salgado and Xavier Elizondo. And these were two corrupt Chicago Police Department officers, in which one of them, the Xavier Elizondo, got 7 years in prison, and David Salgado got 6 years in prison. And let's just put it this way: for what they got sentenced for, if this was us, we would have got way more. These guys right here got 6 years and 6 and 7 years for lying to judges in order to get search warrants. Basically, they were lying to get search warrants from the judges so they could steal drugs and money, most likely off of whoever they got the warrants for, or to just get them from wherever. Remember, I kept telling you they function like gang members. I wouldn't be surprised if they had gang ties. You'll be surprised at how many police officers have gang ties. I already talked about it in the first part of this video. So it should be of no shock or surprise. But the fact of the matter is, they only got 6 and 7 years. Combined, that's 13 years. Is black men in jail who serve way longer than that for a little bit of weed. And these guys were getting illegal search warrants to get drugs and money.